I'm joined this morning by Nathan Corden, who's going to get us up to speed on all things Toaster and surrounding tracks. Morning, Nathan. Kicking off with, I guess, Mildenhall and Oxford. What's the latest developments on them?
Yeah, okay. With Mildenhall, we're looking at starting trials early part of December. We've been held up a little bit because the Speedway and stock car there. So obviously we need to get the inside rail sorted out and everything like that. But the last stock car meeting is this weekend. So once that's finished, we can sort of rip down that. But the rail's in, the sand's on, everything's like moving forward. The kennel's 95% there. So, you know, we're hoping in another few weeks we'll be in a position at Mildenhall to start trialling.
Is there a date yet when the stewards are due to come and have a look at the place?
Not yet, but we are hoping that's towards the end of November, first week in December. I think that's what we're going to try and aim for. Okay.
And Kevin sent me through a picture recently of the hair rail at Oxford. Obviously, that's progressing as well.
Yeah, that's down. The hair rail's down there. The sand is in. And, you know, I think that will probably be 3 or 4 weeks behind Mildenhall. So, you know, we're looking at the end of December, potentially beginning of January, depending on all the weather and getting everything done.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, realistically speaking, it's probably going to be January, isn't it now?
Well, I think we're going to try and aim for the end of the year. But, you know, I think it's always nice to have a little bit of a buffer and get going as soon as we can.
Excellent. Moving on to things at Toaster, one of the first things, again, I was sent some pictures by Kevin of the silent firework display. I can't say I've ever been to one. I don't think you were there either, but I'm sure you've done a bit of homework on it.
Yeah, no, I was. I'd only just returned from holiday, so I wasn't there. But yeah, no, it was a great night by all accounts. Had just over 3,500 people in. You know, again, it's nice to get local people in and you know, getting them to see the facilities, getting them to know there's a greyhound track there. So it was a huge success by all accounts. I think the only problem we did have where we were hoping to have a drone display, but the wind, I mean, I think if anybody was at Toaster the week before, I saw some pictures of everything being blown across the fields. It was very, very windy. So there was a bit of a risk assessment and health and safety problem with the drone. So that didn't go ahead, but everything else with the silent fireworks went ahead smoothly.
Okay. Is there anything I wanted to talk to you about the Hunt Cup? Is there anything else going on Toaster-wise we need to know about?
Not really. No, we've got the Sovereign Cup coming up, sponsored by Gain, over 270 meters. That's next week. And then we've got the English Puppy Derby for January 20 whelps. That starts the last day of November. We always like to do the puppy events all in 1 month, but we've done it over, you know, just in the schedule for racing. We start that on Tuesday, the 30th of November. Ideally, we would have started Wednesday, 1st December, but we don't race on a Wednesday.
Okay. And then moving on to the Hunt Cup, another after the marathon previously, the first Containers Marathon, another fabulous Category 1 event, 12.5 grand to the winner.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been pleasing the last few weeks. I mean, well, for the last few months, you go back to, you know, even with the Empress Stakes, that was a cracking race in September. You know, we move on to the marathon race in October, which was really marathon race of the century. You know, the first 4 sort of in one length of each other. And now you've got the Hunt Cup final, which again is a very, very good final.
The one thing that occurs to me, and I've spoken to a couple of trainers about it, and I know there's always, we make reference to the anti-toaster feeling because there is some now in social media. There's less than there appears to be less than there was. But the one point that I kind of make to people is that Kevin made various promises when he took over that he would do various things. He would get the derby, he'd get the place, he would improve the track, he would improve the drainage. He would put on a whole series of new Category 1 events, and it was all kind of scoffed at. And here's another Category 1 event worth 12.5 grand to the winner.
100%. You know, I mean, it's I've only been working for Kevin since 1st of January, but it really has reinvigorated my love for racing. I love open racing anyway, but it's been a dream. All this open racing, the Category 1 finals, the Derby. I've thoroughly enjoyed putting these races on. And seeing the quality of the dogs that come across.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. So looking at the final on Sunday, what do you make of it?
I really see it being a little bit of a match race early on between 1 and 6. I think obviously the 6 trapped out very well in the marathon final and led all the way virtually until, a length before the line. But I think Pippi's slightly more consistent trapping in 1. The 2 and the 3 will be slower trappers on her outside. If she can get to that first bend in front, there is a question mark for me whether Burgess Elite can do another 15.93 sectional. Whether it gets held up a little bit by Troy Susie Q, I'm not sure. But whatever it works out, it's going to be a fantastic final.
Yeah, nighttime Danny in another Category 1.
Yeah.
I was looking at the race and even the Bubbly in 2. If you look at her best, she still hasn't really come away in her best form. You look at her best Romford form. If she was to reproduce that for the first 5.75 meters,
yeah,
she's going to make a game of it as well, isn't it? I mean, there is no hopers in there.
No, 100%, and I think that's why it's key that the start, whoever gets the best start, will probably be quite naturally be in pole position. There's anything can happen in a 6-bend race, like we saw what happened in the 8-bend race last month. Let's just hope it's a cracking final like that.
Yeah, before we sort of conclude on that, the other observation I would have made was that looking at, because it's such a long running, a little bit like Wimbledon, for coming off that last bend, you still get a race, don't you, from the last bend to the winning line. And we saw that in the marathon as well, where John's dog was leading it coming into the last bend. There's still a decent proportion of the race still to take place.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that surprised me about here is how many dogs coming off that last bend where you're thinking, oh, they've got no chance from there, actually can just get up on the line and pull out a victory. It is surprising the number that do that. So coming off that last bend, everything's still to play for. So
having listened to you blurble on about the various dogs in it, name one.
I'm going to go with track 1, Slaker's Pippi.
Wonderful. That's going to be putting Mr. Harnden off, isn't it?
Well, I just hope I haven't given him the kiss of the death. It's she was runner-up in the St. Ledger in 2020. She is a good bitch, and I've known Peter from a young age, so I hope he can get a Category 1 success.
Very much so. Nathan, thanks for joining me.
No problems, Floyd.